In the next Maya Basics lesson, we're going to jump out of animation for just a second, go into dynamics, and add the lightning rod that goes across the two engines. Okay, before we start animating this and adding all our extra pieces, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, I went ahead and went to Show and turned all these things back on. I'm going to actually select the clusters, shift select these guys, and then I'm going to add them to this layer. So I'm going to call this layer Don't Touch. Don't touch. And I'll hit save. So I'm going to turn off the visibility, that way you don't see them anymore. And I'll select all the joints. Actually, it'd probably be easier to do that in the outliner. So select the joints there. And then we'll add that, add selected objects. We'll select the IK handle for all of these, and we're just going to kind of tuck them away. So we'll add selected objects, and the pod body, that's where our handles are. Add selected objects. Okay, so that kind of cleans house a little bit. So if I need them, I can just turn them on, turn them off. All right. Next, I'm going to teach you just a little bitty trick that's kind of tucked away. Select your first object, shift select the second object, go up to Dynamics, and all the way over at the end you have a folder called, or a menu called Effects, and we're going to choose Lightning, open up the option box, and give it a second here. We'll give it a name. We'll call this Energy, and we'll leave everything kind of at the basics. I'll show you where you go to change these settings. So we'll just hit Create, and what you're going to end up with is a lightning rod. And since we selected those two objects, it's already going to be parented and organized. So if I select, grab the entire pod here, and move, you'll see, maybe hard to see on that video, but you'll see that that lightning rod will move back and forth. And what's really cool is if you just select the lightning rod and hit Control A to bring up your attribute editor, if you go over to the Lightning Surface 1, extra attributes, second. There we go. Find the energy node. I just pressed up until I reached it. So that's what we named it, energy. And if you go to extra attributes, that's where all your information is. So we can go in here and change the thickness of this, change the spread. You can kind of see those changes right there. So if I change that, you can see. Change where it starts. So if you want it to like come on, you can animate that kicking on. You can animate it the other way. Your intensity amounts. But more importantly, this is where you'd go to change the color. A lot of people have had a hard time trying to figure out where do you go to change the color. So let me set up a renderer, and I'll show you kind of an IPR. Oops, my intensity is pretty high. So let's set the intensity up a little bit. And I'll set up an IPR and bring it out onto the screen so you can see that. And that intensity is really high, so I'm going to lower that just a little bit. You don't want to get it too low. Okay, that looks good. So now we can actually put in some of the red and take out some of the green and give us a really cool looking purple. So I can actually make it a little bit thinner there. Let's re-IPR that. So this is going to add that little final touch, I think, to the pod racer here. And like I said, it's animated over time. So if we select the entire pod 1 node there, you can see that it's animating over time. If you move up or down, left or right, which is really cool. It's going to come out with some, it's going to be really nice when we get this thing animated.